Over the past couple of months, I've looked at two major reports that focus on the Canadian housing market. First, we looked at CIBC, and they argued that home prices were still too high to buy and not high enough to build. Then TD Economics, they warned that the market wasn't really recovering. They say that it was stalling. A recent report out from RBC, their argument is a little bit different from the last couple of reports that we looked at. They say housing affordability is still improving nationally, but according to RBC, those improvements are becoming smaller and less widespread. The key phrase from their March 2026 report is right in the title. They say affordability gains become weaker and sparser in Canada. Personally, I find that wording a little bit confusing, but it means essentially that affordability is improving, but more slowly. More and more also, it's uneven depending on where you live. We're going to cover off the regional differences in this video today too. They note that the national aggregate affordability measure eased for an eighth consecutive quarter to 52.4% in Q4 2025 from an all-time high of 63% at the end of 2023. So if affordability improved, like they're saying here, why doesn't it feel that way to so many people? Well, the next paragraph is probably more important. RBC says gains have slowed noticeably since the middle of 2025. Specifically, quarterly declines have moderated to negative 0.4 percentage points in the past 2 quarters from an average of negative 1.6 percentage points in the prior year and a half. So affordability is improving, just much more slowly than it was before. And the report makes another very important point. The national numbers are hiding very different regional realities. They say many local markets buck the improving trend. Specifically, they highlight Montreal, Quebec City, Edmonton, Calgary, and Winnipeg have seen back-to-back deteriorations in affordability. Meanwhile, Vancouver and Toronto, where prices have been falling this past year, account for most of the national measure's decline. However, take a moment to consider this chart, which shows the share of income a household would need to cover ownership costs as a percentage. Vancouver is at 88.4%. Toronto, 62.9%. You can see some of the other cities that fall below the national average. And this connects directly back to the earlier TD and CIBC reports. Vancouver and Toronto are improving mostly because prices are correcting. It's not because houses are actually becoming affordable. Right? RBC says only roughly half of the markets we tracked remained on an easing trajectory by the second half of last year. Fewer markets became affordable in 2025. Then they go on to explain why. They say the half that is now seeing rising ownership costs generally boast of relatively tight supply, which is sustaining steady price appreciation. Okay, I know that people are watching this video from various parts of the country, so I want to take a moment to talk about the different situations that you're going to find in various parts of the country, and we're going to look at a wide range of circumstances depending on where you live. First, though, let's put a little bit of perspective on this. The report does say diverging trends across the country isn't unusual. In fact, they call it a return to the norm after local market cycles were uncharacteristically synchronized during and immediately after the pandemic. So it's really important that we keep that in perspective. What we're seeing now is going back to more of a normal scenario that we saw disrupted, I guess you'd say, when we came out of the pandemic. Canada is not one housing market. We have multiple regional markets that are moving in different directions. Now, the most obvious example of that is in Vancouver. RBC literally titles the section Vancouver Slump in Full Force. Then they write, Vancouver remains by far the least affordable market in Canada with a measure of 88.2%. RBC also says that Vancouver is still only about halfway into reversing the spike in costs during the pandemic. Importantly here, they say, it's no wonder many would-be buyers are waiting for prices to fall further before entering the market. Now that sounds very similar to the TD report. They said that falling prices don't automatically create extra demand. Sometimes buyers will wait for even lower prices. That's human nature. Now, Toronto in this report shows the same dynamic. RBC titles this section, Toronto, notable affordability relief still comes short. They write that falling home values in the Toronto area are helping restore ownership affordability at one of the fastest paces in the country. But then they add, Toronto buyers still face difficult hurdles with 62.9% of a typical household's income needed to cover the costs of owning an average home at current prices. Again here, just like we see in Vancouver, RBC says that buyers remain reluctant to enter the market while prices look likely to drop further amid abundant inventory. Now, I want to compare that with Alberta and with Saskatchewan, and we see the tone change completely here. RBC says, Calgary, affordability has largely normalized. They note that RBC's affordability measure is just slightly higher than its long-term average, and strong home building has increased supply in the past year, contributing to cooling prices. Edmonton looks similar. RBC says that affordability there is back within historical norms. So in Edmonton, the outlook for buyers appears more positive as the earlier supply-demand tightness has eased materially and price appreciation is moderating. Now let's take a look at Regina. RBC calls this the most affordable region. Congratulations if you're watching this from Regina. They note that it may be more attributable to fewer homes up for sale than any notable erosion in sentiment. New listings in Regina have declined since late 2025, so supply and demand has kept historically tight. Buyers enjoy the best ownership affordability among the markets we track. I do want to highlight something else that's very interesting that's going on right now. Not every smaller market is improving. Take Winnipeg, for example. They are seeing increasing stress at the margin. Winnipeg is one of only 4 markets we track where the RBC aggregate affordability measure has deteriorated in the past year, including a 0.4% increase in Q4. So that's very interesting. Winnipeg is moving in the opposite direction. Montreal, another example here. RBC writes, it's become harder to afford a home. Prices have held on to an upward trajectory, and the report says, we think it will increasingly hold back buyers for now. Tight inventory maintains upward pressure on home values, though we'd expect gradual easing ahead. Those of you who are watching this from Quebec City, if that's your home, brace yourselves. The report says affordability stands at its worst level in more than 3 decades. A little bit of context here, though. It says at 35.9%, it compares favorably to Montreal and other major Canadian centers. So where does this all leave us? Well, I think that RBC's conclusion is actually pretty straightforward. Way back on page 2 of the report, they write that we're likely approaching the end of the recuperation phase for housing affordability in Canada. Then I want to highlight what I think is probably the most important line in the entire report. Further meaningful advancement would require steeper price declines or more robust income increases. Neither seem likely under our base case forecasts. So that is reality. That is the uncomfortable middle ground that we are stuck in here in Canada right now. Affordability is improving statistically, but not enough. Prices are coming down in some cities. Again, not enough though, and income growth isn't strong enough to close that gap. And that is why we sit here today with millions of us still saying that housing feels unaffordable, even though the data says that conditions are technically improving. Now, hopefully this gives you a little context for what's going on right now. Leave a comment. Let us know what you're experiencing in your own personal lives, in your own personal reason these days. Is it getting better or worse for you? Please leave a comment below. As always, I say thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.